Hello, my name is Referencer. I'm the coach of the Evergrande Steelix. I'm playing in the Rotom Appliance Draft League this season. Very excited. This is my first ever draft league. Um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give a brief summary of my team, and yeah, hopefully the season goes well. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out. So my first round pick was something that's not generally a first round pick, but something I'm very happy to have on the team. Rapid Spinner, Stealth Rocker, Knockoff, great Pokemon overall. I picked Iron Treads. Iron Treads is a very strong all around Pokemon, good at a lot of things. Um, could be a lot of different sets it could run, which makes it harder to prep for, and gives me more options, which is good. Rapid Spin, very important. Stealth Rock, obviously. Knockoff, Volt Switch as well. Give me some openings to pivot into my other Pokemon. Pretty strong speed stat, attack and defense. It can run booster energy and speed, attack, or defense should I need it to. Um, yeah, great steel type. Electric immunity. Yeah, very happy to have Iron Treads. I was second to last to pick in the draft. So I picked Iron Treads, then the last person picked, and then picked again, and then it went back to me. So my next pick, I picked Iron Treads first. I already had my first two picks chosen, basically. I picked Iron Treads first because I was worried the next person was more likely to pick them than my next pick. Um, because of how what a great draft Pokemon Iron Treads is. Um, yeah, very happy to have it on my team. And my next pick was something I'm very shocked that was allowed in this league. Crazy Pokemon, and it is Sneasler. Sneasler is ridiculous. So let me tell you, this thing is very hard to stop. Um, Basically, in most of my games, this will be how I win. Crazy cleaner. With Unburden, it goes up to effectively base 240 speed. And if I put any investment in my speed, it gets doubled, which is ridiculous, just insane. Um, it's got Dire Claw, which has a 50% chance to either sleep, paralyze, or poison. So there's a 50-50 shot of it doing one of those things or doing nothing, essentially. Um, which is very hard to play around. It's got Sword Stance to set up and then sweep the game. That is how I foresee using it in most of my games. I've essentially built a lot of my team around Sneasler because of how strong it is and how easy it is to set up with the right team support. It can also, if I wanted to, run a Choice Scarf set with Switcheroo to trick to Scarf onto something else, and Poison Touch to spread status around the enemy team. Um, yeah, just a strong option to have in case they have a good matchup into, Unburden Sneasler. I can just switch what set I'm running. Um, yeah, great Pokemon. This is the Pokemon that essentially a lot of my team is built around supporting. Um, yeah, super excited to use Sneasler. My next Pokemon is something that I was shocked made it to the third round, and that is Darkrai. Darkrai is a very strong Pokemon. I mean, it's not too complicated. My first two were strong for complicated reasons, or maybe not complicated, but like Sneasler is good because of Unburden, and it's got a great move pool, and it's very strong, got some great stats. Iron Treads is good because it's Stealth Rocker and Rapid Spinner and a Steel type. Darkrai is just fast, and it has a 135 special attack stat. It's basically that simple. It's got good coverage. It's got, again, good Pokemon to Choice Scarf because of Trick. It's got, just great coverage, great stats, very strong. Excited to use it. It also covers Sneasler's Psychic type weakness. Um, so yeah, very excited to use Darkrai. This is technically my fastest team member if you don't count Sneasler with Unburden. Um, but yeah, Darkrai, very strong Pokemon. Excited to use it this season. My next Pokemon was a Pokemon that I got, which fits my team basically as well as I could have ever asked. It's almost perfect. It's um, a bulky water type. It's a bulky fairy type. One of the best type combinations in the game defensively. Uh, it's got a lot of stuff that my team needs, and that Pokemon is Tapu Fini. Now, first and foremost, it's got Misty Surge, which sets up terrain for Sneasler. Sneasler can run the Misty Seed, which, if it gets sent out and there's Misty terrain up, it uses up the item, activates Unburden, gives it a special defense boost, and it's just basically a free +2 speed and +1 special defense with Misty terrain up, which is very strong. And Tapu Fini in its own right is very strong, very good. Misty terrain also helps people who would deal with Sneasler by statusing it, like Thunder Waving it, or Willow Wisping it, or burning it somehow. That doesn't work with Misty terrain because Misty terrain blocks all statuses basically. Um, Tapu Fini can also set up Calm Mind. It can use Haze to stop setup. It can use Taunt. It's got Draining Kiss. It's got Defog for hazards. Yeah, it's basically a wall that can't be statused. And it's also not too bad in the offensive department. Base 95 is pretty good. And it's a great Pokemon, again, to run Choice Scarf on because it does get Trick. And base 85 speed ain't too bad with the Choice Scarf. So yeah, very versatile Pokemon. Very good for my team. Love to see it. Get a great defensive backbone to have. Very bulky. My next Pokemon, I wanted another terrain setter because I don't want to be locked into using the same one every week because I feel like that's pretty easy to plan for. Like if my team was just one dimensional, like, oh, Sneasler and Tapu Fini, that's essentially two of the same Pokemon I have to bring every week. And I can't change that at all. And that's really easy to deal with. But having to deal with two different terrain setters is a lot harder, which is why I was very happy to pick up Rillaboom. Rillaboom is strong, very strong terrain setter. Grassy Glide is really good. Knockoff is good. U-Turn is great for getting Sneasler in. Just very good Pokemon for my team. Also, Grassy Surge lowers the power of Earthquake, which Sneasler is weak to. And a couple members of my team are also Earthquake weak. And having Grassy Terrain up lowers the base power of Earthquake, which is a nice thing to have. Maybe punish someone who didn't plan for Rillaboom and get rid of their way to deal with my Pokemon, which is great. Or at the worst, make them run a worse ground move so it doesn't get ruined by Grassy Surge, which is just strong. And while some of my Pokemon do get Earthquake, which would be bad to run with Rillaboom, only I know if I'm going to be running Rillaboom or not. So they have to plan for it, but I can just decide, do I want Grassy Terrain or not? It's just a strong thing to do, like a good thing to be able to decide. For me to set the tone of the battle like that. Also, Knockoff is great. It can also run some more bulk up or some bulkier sets with Leech Seed and Drain Punch. Just a great Pokemon. Excited to use it. This is probably one of my favorite Pokemon to use in competitive. I just love Rillaboom. Priority is great. Pivoting is great. Disruption is great. Just a strong Pokemon. Very, very overall solid. My next Pokemon, I was shocked, made it this far. I've said that about a couple, but I really was. And that is Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire has no reason to be left until I think this is the 5th round because this Pokemon it's very good. It's very, very good. It's very, very hard to deal with. A lot of versatility. It's got defensive bulk. It's got offensive sets with Dragon Dance. It's got Burning Bulwark, which is a pain to play around because you bring any physical attacker into me, and I could just, send out Gouging Fire, and you don't know whether you're going to get burned or not. And I can use that opportunity to set up a Dragon Dance or to hit you for damage. Just a great Pokemon. Um, Completes also my Fire Water Grass core and my Fairy Dragon Steel core. Uh, just exactly what I needed out of the types for my team. Um, yeah, Dragon Dance. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I'm sure if you've played Pokemon, competitive Pokemon recently, you know that Gouging Fire is very strong. So yeah, excited to use it. Excited to use it. Um, my next Pokemon, uh, like I said, like I kind of alluded to with Rillaboom, a lot of my team is weak to Earthquake, and I need something to fix that. Enter Thunderous Therian. Thunderous Therian is obviously immune to Earthquake as an electric type. That's very good. Very good defensive typing with electric flying. It's got Volt Switch, it's got Thunderbolt, it's got U-Turn, it's got Grass Knot. And this is my first Terra Captain. Um, in this league, you can have up to 3 with a total of 25 points or less. And Thunderous is my most expensive Terra Captain at 14 points. Just a great Pokemon to terrestrialize because it needs better coverage, and there's no limit to the types I can terrestrialize into this and in this league. So I can either go defensive and set up an agility or a nasty plot, or I can terrestrialize into an ice type and hit your entire team for neutral or super effective damage off of a 145 base special attack stat. It's just hard to deal with. It's just very hard to plan for because it could do so many different things. Good Scarfer, good Pokemon to use with specs, great speed tier, outspeeding all the base 100s. Yeah, super excited to use Thundurus, especially as my Terra Captain. And my next Pokemon is another Terra Captain, another great defensive Pokemon. Wanted to make absolutely sure because a lot of my strong Pokemon that I will usually be bringing, like Iron Treads, Gouging Fire, Sneasler, are weak to Earthquake. So I want to have options to lower the power of Earthquake because I don't ever want to be forced to bring a specific Pokemon. I don't ever want to have to bring something. And I needed a Ghost type because fighting immunity, normal immunity, blocking rapid spin, all very strong things. And I got Sinistcha. Very happy about this. Strength Sap is a very strong move, very hard to play around. Matcha Gotcha can also get boosted by grassy terrain if I wanted to. Heat Proof takes care of the fire weakness. Um, and it also helps with terrestrialization because I could terrestrialize into, say, a steel type. And Heat Proof gets rid of my fire weakness. Um, and yeah, it's a great Pokemon to have. Got some good utility. It's got Calm Mind. It's got Foul Play. It's got Pain Split. Um, yeah, just a lot of things that this Pokemon does very well. I'm excited to use it at some point during this league. My next Pokemon is something that I think was a steal. Let me tell you, the next 3 Pokemon that I have, my last 3 Pokemon, all cost 1 point. For reference, I think my most expensive Pokemon was Darkrai, and that was 18 points. My next 3 are 1 point. Let me tell you guys, Probopass should not have been 1 point. This guy is a monster with terrestrialization because Magnet Pull is strong in Draft. It's a lot stronger than it is in Ladder because in Ladder you can run a Magnet Pull Pokemon, but there will always be a Steel type that doesn't lose to it. Like you can run Terra Fire Magnet Pull for Scissor, but then you run into like a Water Steel Pokemon and you're screwed, and your Magnet Pull doesn't beat the Steel type anymore, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But in Draft, I can specifically plan to beat their Steel type. I can EV, I can have moves that do super effective damage. I can terrestrialize into a type that beats it. Um, and Probopass is great for that because it is a special attacker, and steals are usually more physically bulky. So special attackers have a good matchup into steals. It's also got some great defensive stats. It's got my highest stat out of any of my Pokemon with 150 in special defense. For 1 point, I get a Volt Switcher, I get a Magnet Pull Pokemon, I get a Stealth Rocker, I get everything I could have wanted all for 1 point. And I absolutely think this should not have been a point. My next Pokemon, I noticed my team was lacking a little bit in priority. So I picked up Absol. Absol has Stab, Sucker Punches with Super Luck off a 130 attack stat. And that's without Swords Dance. It's just a great priority user. It's got good coverage. It's got a high attack stat. And I have a lot of pivoters. So a weakness of Absol is it's got low defense and low speed. It's got great attack, but it's hard to get in and it doesn't really outspeed much. But with, say, like Probopass, for example, I can do a slow Volt Switch out into Absol, and he comes in and is able to fire off his moves. He's got Sucker Punch and Pursuit, which is a strong combination, both stab, by the way, because one of the common ways to avoid Sucker Punch is just to switch, and Pursuit beats that. Also, Knockoff, coming off of stab, is great, and like I said, it's got good coverage and play rough in close combat. Yeah, for only 1 point, too. I'm excited to use Absol. I think it's going to be good this season. Maybe not use it as much as Probopass because Probopass is crazy for 1 point, and I think Magnet Pull will open up my Sneasler a lot to spam its Dire Claw when the Steel types are gone. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I get to bring Absol at some point. Very excited. I think it fits well on the team. And my last Pokemon is a little bit of a sleeper pick, I think, because its evolution, this is an unevolved Pokemon, its evolution is one of the best leads in the game. And Glimmet is a great lead as well. It's got Toxic Debris. It's got all 3 hazards. Well, except I guess there's 4 because of Sticky Web, but all 3 damaging hazards. And it's just a great lead, suicide lead, in case I see that their team is maybe weak to hazards. I can lead out Sash Glimmet, get some Toxic Debris going, Stealth Rock and Spikes, Toxic, whatever comes in. And 105 special attack is not too bad, I gotta say. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm excited. I hopefully do well this season. This is my first ever draft league, and we'll see how it goes. I will be posting the battles on this YouTube channel. Yeah, see you guys for the round one battle.